Good afternoon. We had a question emailed to us for the entire group about week one, assignment number one. If you click on it, you're going to see this on the screen. You're going to see two sections in this little picture, stock picture of two people very busily at work. I'm not sure what they're doing, but they look very engaged. And the two sections you're going to see are the instructions here and the deliverables there. And below this is the rubric. We'll get to that in a second. Now, let's try to work our way from the top down so you know what's up for assignment number one. Okay, assignment number one, believe it or not, is a creative assignment. When you get to this course, you're going to see something in the modules, okay, for week one. One of the things you're going to see is a course project where you start building your own research report. This assignment here, the week one assignment one, will feed into the discussion for week one discussion and feed into the research report. So the goal is to make whatever you figure out for week one assignment one feed into these two other things. And that means creating a problem that you're interested in. It can't be just any old problem because when you get down to it, the world is full of crazy problems that require all of our attention, like last week. However, we need to choose one research problem that's business oriented that you really care about. Okay. You sit down and you look at the world of business and you go, wow, there is a billion different nutty things going on, and there's a whole pile of problems. Cool. Okay. Which one would I like to spend some time in this course and dig into? Think about it. Ask yourself, what do you really find interesting for you? Because that's what research is really about in the end. Business research don't get me wrong, does help the business, quote unquote, but you should also enjoy and have a passion for what you want to dig into. So find something in business that has a problem, a breakdown, a bad process, fires, whatever, and say, wow, that's really awesome. I want to dig into that and build the problem statement for that. Why? Because that will guide this week's discussion and your course project and will influence the rest of the course. And better yet, it's something that you enjoy and like. So you're more likely to do well. So let's choose something you want to do. Okay. So what happens is you read this and you're going like, this is really confusing. So what you want to do is you just want to crack open the textbook. I'm going to try to, there it is, and find it. Here you go. And here's the chapter you'll be reading, which, formatting wise, leaves a lot to be desired. But this chapter is all about, okay, defining the management problem. When you're done with this chapter, you won't be a professional on writing down what a business problem is, but at least you'll have a better sense of it. Okay? So read through it, scroll through it, get a gist of what a business problem statement should contain, at least an outline. Okay? If you get a little stuck on this, let me know and I'll post up a follow up video. But when you get down to it, a few key things, believe it or not, is actually in the boxes. Like box 1 or 3.1 is really good. So is 3.2. And this little part right here, defining the management problem, it's not boxed or anything. It's not even highlighted, but it gives you a really good sense of the three things that must appear in your statement of the problem that you want to dig into. If these three things don't appear, guess what? You're not going to have a management problem statement. You're just going to have some stuff on paper and it won't help you drive a study. Then below this, it starts getting into things that you may want to dig into, processes or situations that are broken. How big is the tire fire that you want to dive into to fix? Okay. And at the end, you're going to scroll through all this mess. And eventually, you are going to find, we'll get there in a moment, I promise. Here we go. Case. I'm usually not a big fan of case study papers because a lot of case study papers are just like, they're very superficial. They really don't show you much. But this one is actually useful. So we're going to click on it and open it up. And when we do, we get this. Okay. This is actually a pretty good example. Okay. Usually I'm not a fan of these things, but this one's not too bad. When you read through this, you're going to see all those 3 points appear in here in a very lucid and descriptive way. And in a sense, if you want to develop a management problem statement using this is kind of like your model, go for it. Okay. Also, remember the ampersand, this is a pet peeve of mine, is not a word. Okay. It's only valid in APA for parenthetical citations. This should be the word and, not the ampersand. So sorry about that. There's a little bit of my APA teacher shining through. Okay. However, feel free to use this as a good idea or strategy or roadmap on how to map out and write up your problem. If you follow this to, within some creative license, of course, you're more than welcome to make this your own and make it more vibrant, make it more you, because this is your research problem for this class. Feel free. Okay, but it's a good idea. The case questions, I don't know. I don't know if these are really any good, to be honest. However, the statement of the problem here from the management perspective, the context of the problem, the way it's delivered here, and defining the definition in context, kind of an odd way of saying it, but together, this really gives a good map of how to write down your problem statement. Now with that, so let's get back to that. Let's close that out. Okay. The book, oops, sorry, that's not the book. Where is the book? There it is. Don't forget that is here. Okay, so we're going to close that out too. Deliverable, write it up in Word in a nice way, formatted APA, etc., and include the 5 references. Okay, now why 5? Why do you have to have references for a problem that you see? Okay, this is really kind of make you this you might kind of laugh, but this is how it works. We all know that one person who says, "Oh my God, this is a huge, terrible problem," and everyone else around you is like, "No, it's not. You're the only one in the whole world who sees this problem." Is that really a problem? you know? So you have to ask yourself, do I really want to be that guy? The answer is probably no. So, but the idea is that if you see a problem and a few other people see a similar problem, kind of like you do, it's a good chance what you're digging into is actually a legit, real problem. Just keep that in mind. So, does it have to be exactly like the problem you're digging into? Well, ideally, sure. But, closely related, tangentially related, somehow, these references give credence to your concern and your problem. That's a good thing. That's what you want to see. Now let's get to the rubric. Okay, when you get down to it, the rubric is 2 items. Okay, when you get down to it, let's see. This is just the fancy way of saying the 3 parts above. Okay, it's really wordy. But yeah, if you hit all 3 points from the textbook, like I showed you a moment ago, that's a 3 out of 3 for this row. Okay. Reference list. You have 5 references, and aim for APA formatting. And if you do that, you'll get the full 5 points. Now, other advice. Just generally, write clearly, write plainly. Don't try to be fancy. Be very direct. Make it such that a peer or someone you can work with can read it and say, "Ah, I see what you want to dig into. That makes sense." And more importantly, choose a topic that you enjoy. Okay? Because you're going to be working on this during the whole term. So you might as well have something that you want to dig into and learn about. Why not? Use this class for that. I am more than open to that. Now, I know it's a lot of stuff for one video, but hopefully it's helpful. It's also 10 minutes long. My apologies. I talk way too much early morning. But I wanted to clear this up. If you have any questions, ask. I'll be happy to provide whatever I can provide without breaking too many rules. I'll break some of the rules, but not all of them, to help you out. If you need a template for this, sometimes I get asked, Steve, what's a template for this? I'm a little hesitant to give out a template unless you really, really, really need it. Okay? I'd rather see you, honestly, creatively write your own expression of the problem using the guidance in that case study and the 3 points that I highlighted in the book. If you are very clear and direct in how you state it, you're going to have an excellent problem statement. If I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, wow, what are they trying to tell me? that's usually a bad problem statement. That's usually a problem statement that needs to be clarified such that someone else could read it and appreciate the problem just like you do. One trick you may want to do is write up your problem statement and have a friend read it and say, hey, if you read this, what's the problem you're getting out of it? And have them tell you. If they tell you something that's roughly congruent to what you're thinking, that's good. If they tell you something that's like really left field and completely different than what you're thinking, time to revise your document. Okay. And if they look at you and say, I don't understand, that's even worse yet. That means you really need to clarify and simplify and really clean up what you're trying to write up as your problem statement. So always feel free to bounce it off a friend. Okay. Also, if you want to share it in the discussion this week, as you know, we have discussion. We'll click on discussions. And we have discussion 1. I think that's what it's called. Hold on, let me get the number. Yeah, week 1 discussion. Business problem. It's going to pop up in a second here. If you'd like to share your draft here to get feedback from peers or even maybe a comment from me, feel free. I don't mind. I'll be happy to do it. But remember, this is a public forum. Whatever you post in here, everyone's going to see, which is okay. Now with that, I hope that helps, and I'll see you later.